All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope you enjoy. Welcome to episode 63 of the KissFAQ podcast. I'm Julian Gill, the admin on the board, and joining me today is BagBoy Alex. Welcome back.
Thank you.
69th Blizzard Ken. Welcome.
Hello.
And Marcus Almighty Mark. Good to see you
Greetings.
all again, gentlemen. And in case you're wondering out there, no, Lonnie has not been fired. We rotate our cast as much as we possibly can, and he's got something more interesting to do this week. So, Lonnie, we hope you're having fun out there, even if you support the wrong team.
Oh, yeah.
So, just a quick bit of news today before we get going with the topic, and that's simply because while I was surfing for some stuff this afternoon, I stumbled on Universal Japan's website, and it looks like they're about to reissue the whole catalog again on CD on May the 18th. So I haven't hit the translate button, but it looks like Alive 3 is included on the SHM CD format, so who knows if these are going to come in the lower cost jewel cases or in the mini LPs. It looks like they're the lower cost, 1,850 yen. That looks pretty cheap for Japan, so my expectation is they'll be in jewel cases. But will they have the new 2014 mixes? Or masters? Actually, masters I think is more correct because they were not remixed. So who knows? We will find out more. They don't even have the pictures up of the items on the Universal site yet. It just says coming soon. So anyone out in Japan or has connections into Universal Japan wants to let us know, post on the board so that everyone can pick it up. And it's been a while since they've done a catalog reissue in Japan. And I'm going to start off on today's topic on that line of kind of items, and our topic today is our top 5 items in our collections or our most recent Kiss related purchases. It's kind of a show and tell that you'll get more of a benefit out of watching the YouTube video, as we'll probably be holding up a few things, but we will try and be as descriptive as possible for the visually impaired. So I'm going to go first, since I was just talking about the reissue of the Kiss catalog. And one of the things I bought recently, I just saw it on eBay, and I bought it for no other reason than I thought, oh, cool. And it is Dress to Kill CD box, basically. Unofficial, made in China. And when I took this thing out of the packaging, I was nearly knocked over by the odor of I think it's latex or something that this is printed on. It was more powerful than 10 Kissteries put together, and it's taken several weeks for me either to get used to it or it to have killed all the sensory buds in my nose. So on the inside, it's just like all the Japanese boxes that were issued by Disc Union. Every time Japan reissued the catalog. Did we just lose my video?
Yeah, we lost your video.
All right, well, I'm going to keep talking and hope that it comes back.
Okay.
So every time they reissued the catalog in Japan in recent years, Disc Union, one of the Japanese vendors, has done a special box set, which included one of the first one was double platinum, so you had a shiny box like this. And then they did, I think, Destroyer, Unmasked, and the first Kiss album. So now we get to Japan, and China is issuing their own for no reason, so I just use that to stick all my recent Get a Peach and Godfather bootlegs in. So nothing particularly exciting, a little bit expensive, but it was free postage and it arrived in good shape. So I'm going to look at this video. What the hell's going on?
Okay, I was going to say that that box that you have there, is that like a reissue of the catalog, or is that just like something specific to Dress to Kill?
That's just the Dress to Kill box. It's nothing specific to the catalog. The Chinese obviously saw that they were issuing similar in Japan and thought, well, if we print up our own and sell them to idiots in the U.S., we'll pay $75 for the privilege of having a box with an overpoweringly inky stink to it. Well, like I said, you get to put all your bootlegs in it, and I've bought a few.
Yeah,
I hate bootlegs, but I've bought a few lately, so nice place to put it. Mark, since you asked a question, let's move on to you and your first item.
Well, I have a few things, but mainly the thing that I collect, I guess, would be vinyl right now is the main thing that I'm collecting. But
yeah, I've seen you on the Kiss My Wax Facebook website, and you've been posting a lot of your recent gets there, and a lot of really good questions as well, which are getting some good conversations. So,
yeah, like for example, this one here is that Kiss one with the Mexican one with the "Take Me" on it.
oh,
I don't know if you
excellent,
can see that.
excellent! I still need one of those for my collection.
Me too.
And it's really, really nice. Like there's no ring wear, nothing on this thing. Like I really lucked out at the convention that I went to. There, one of those record store deals there, where I got that, and it was really, really nice. Like, and the funny thing was, I completely talked him down to it because I was talking. You know what? I'm going to tell everybody this. The secret to talking down the owner is find his wife. Okay, I found his wife. Seriously.
Yep, it's true.
And I went and I told her the whole kind of sad story. Oh, I'm collecting and all this stuff, and I'm really into Kiss. And she's like, "Oh, isn't that sweet?" And she talked about some story from 1977. I was all listening intently to it, and then I told her how I found that Kiss Alive 2 there, and I was like, "Oh, I really need that." But it's a little out of my price range. And the next thing I know, I walk away and she's sitting there. She huddled the husband aside and she's all quietly talking to him in the corner. And all of a sudden he comes over to me and goes, "Well, I had it for 150, but I did some thinking and I could let it go for maybe 75 to 80."
Oh,
and I'm like, "Really?"
He's like Rick at the pawn shop. He's cutting himself in half.
Yeah. So I'm like, "Wow." I'm like, "Okay, great." So I went over to the nearest bank machine, grabbed the money, and bingo bango, and then I got it, right? So the wife is the way to do it because she turned the key on him there a little bit and he let it go. The other thing that I got recently that I loved was I got another Alive too, but this is the British Pie one, and I'll show you just really quickly here. It is I don't know if you can see that. This is if you can get it out of this here. It's the red.
Oh, the red.
Yeah.
Love those.
I have that one. Yep.
Yeah, I got the Rock and Roll Over coming in the mail to me, so hopefully the postman doesn't scam it for me. But so I got that, and just really quickly here, so I don't take up all the time. Just a couple of other ones I enjoyed. I have a Peter Criss with the different logo, right?
Now don't play that too much.
No, I don't. And recently, I just got, actually yesterday, I believe it is, I got this here, which is the debut, right? But if you look at the back here, it is the polygram version.
85?
Yeah. And I'll just pull it out real quick here, just to confirm it for all you people who are like, want to see the evidence. So,
if they saw the UPC on the back, they can be pretty sure it's an 85, unless it's a Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Nice. Cool.
Nice. I should passed up a 501 issue the other day. Alex, let's move on to you.
All right, I don't have my stuff up here. I'm up at school, so all my stuff's kind of tucked away at home, but I had some pictures of some of the items. So I guess the first one, if you guys know, back in 2009, Podkiss did an interview with Michael Dora, and who designed Rock and Roll Over and a Sonic Boom album cover, and I had helped kind of facilitate that interview with the Podkiss staff, and with that, Michael Dora sent. Let's see if we can get a good picture of it. You can see right there.
Oh, is that one of his Gleesees?
It's an original press proof from 1976. It was printed in 1976.
Awesome.
It was, and so they printed it from what I got, as they would like print how it was going to be on the material for the record cover, so they could test it out and stuff. And so he had a handful of them made. Obviously, this was something he wanted to have as part of his resume to give out, when he was trying to get jobs and stuff. So he had some extra made and had a bunch of these lying around. So he was kind enough to send me one, and I think he sent the Podcast guys each one too. But so I've actually got it framed and stuff. It's but I just don't have it up here at school with me. But that was pretty cool, a piece of thinking that. from what he told me, is like they took those to the band too. It's like each of the band guys had one of those too to look at to see how it was going to be before the album cover got printed on the vinyl. So I think it's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Is that full size?
Yeah, it's full size. It's a flat.
Is it trimmed, or is it still got like the printer registration marks around the edges? I couldn't quite see that.
It's trimmed. I had it laying on a different record label thing, but yeah, I'll just zoom it back in. So it's just kind of sitting on another record right there. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's that's probably one of my number one things on my list.
Oh, I'm totally jealous of that. That's fantastic. Nice score as well.
Thank you.
To get Michael on the podcast. Great show. Ken, let's move on over to you.
Okay. Well, I showed some of my good stuff the last time we did this, but I got some other stuff. I got a few things. So one of the early things I bought when I first got into Kiss and was kind of collecting, and I was in the record store, and they usually had a lot of stuff and necklaces and everything. Well, I saw the belt buckles, and I thought they were pretty cool. So I got, have 5 of those. So I have, this is the Pacifica ones, I guess they are.
Very cool. Excellent.
Yes.
In good shape. I mean, I didn't wear them or anything like that. I just kind of put them away, and it's let's see, Love Gun. So the first one was Destroyer.
So that one really does look. That looks like washed out color wise. So
it did. It washed. Yeah. It's.
Did it ever look vibrant, or has it always kind of looked like that?
I can't remember, but what's funny about it, the Destroyer and the Love Gun both seemed to have washed out, kind of like my original picture discs had washed out for the solo albums. But yeah, and then I don't know, I picked them up. So here's a couple other ones. Here's one, it's kind of flashy one there.
That belongs on the hood of a Cadillac.
That one. Then I have Gene Simmons. Whoops, here we are.
I like that.
Nice.
Yeah. And then the last one, which I see is I guess harder to find, but I had bought it, but I see it on eBay every now and then, and it's the boot.
The boot.
That's almost like a Motorhead.
Yeah. So that's something I picked up. I think about, I look at it, and some other ones. I think about buying some other ones, but either they're in horrible shape online, or they're too much, for me to pull the trigger on it. But
what are the other ones that they have out there? Because I've never paid attention to belt buckles.
They have for instance, the Destroyer faces. I believe it's the faces, or the faces. No, on Love Gun, they have the headshot of what's on the Love Gun. It was just the heads inside the full thing. It says Kiss, or it says Gene Simmons, or signature next to it, and something like that. But yeah, there's a number of other ones out there, and different Kiss logos, and different, the black with the silver, and there's some other ones too. But there's a number of them out there still.
Didn't they do the solo albums too? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they did the solo albums. I don't know if this is considered a solo album or what. That Gene Simmons one I have, but this is the only one that's not Pacifica. This one here, that one I showed you. It's I don't know, Payan Lindo. It's in Mexico. It was coming out. That one came out of Mexico, believe it or not. So, but anyway, so those are some of my things I like to just hang on to and look at, pull them out every now and check them out.
All right, so I'm going to go back to me, and there was a book that came out in 2003 called, let's see, what's the title? Because it's in German. Fotografen von Didi Zill, Kiss. So this is the Didi Zill Kiss photo book, and I was given a copy by the publisher to run ads on the website at the time, but I eventually sold mine. And I decided I wanted it back because it's got a shitload of Elder era photos, and those are kind of useful to me at the moment.
Right.
So tons of extremely high quality. I think Didi did, what was it, 7 or 8 photo sessions with the band between 1976 in Germany and 1990 on the Hot in the Shade round. I'm just trying to flip through this to the table of contents. So it's got Kiss 1976 in Munich, another session with Pop Rock in 1980, 1981, the video session, which is, of course, the I in a World Without Heroes shoot, which gives you a great look at the Fortress of Solitude stage, which is why I'm interested in these photos. And then in Munich in 1982 for Creatures of the Night, Portland, Oregon, 1983, Cologne, 1983 on the Lick It Up tour, and then I'm actually trying to read the German side. It's easier on the English, and then in the USA, 1990. So it's a heavy book. I got this cheap on eBay for I think €67, but the binding's a bit knackered, which is a shame. It feels like a copy of History with kind of needs to be rebound. Right. But the quality of the pictures is absolutely outstanding. And for those of you who don't have a long attention span and don't want to read 800,000 words in a Kiss novel, a picture book like that, I mean, it's a nice coffee table picture book, extremely well put together. They've selected excellent photos, and mine also came with one of the publishers' books, which has lots of nudie pictures in it, which is really cool. So nice one to add back into the collection very cheaply, because I think I sold mine for like 180 on Amazon when I got rid of it, and to get it back for, I think the euro's close to 1 to 1 at the moment with the dollar, for I think $80 all in with postage was a pretty good deal, even with the damage. So that's a book I've recently had. Let's go back to you, Mark.
Okay, so I'm going to show you something that I've been collecting for a while. Now, this is not something that I don't think that maybe most people don't really collect. Excuse me. But just to preface this by saying that a few years back, I broke my leg. I was in hospital for about 3 months. I broke my femur bone, and it was bad. I was like, I couldn't walk for like the first 3 weeks. I was like bedridden. It was horrendous, bad injury. So after a while, I started getting like a little crazy in that the whole hospital room there. So my parents started bringing me like my laptop and stuff like that. And what I ended up doing was I was listening a lot to different like podcasts, right? So I started, and I was a long time listener and collector of podcasts, right? And what I ended up doing to get my mind off of the boredom and stuff was that I started downloading them, and I was putting them on CD, and I started making covers to just get my mind off of just doing nothing there. So I started making my own little designs of these. And I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but I put up a post of maybe about easily like 60 or 70 of these that I made. All drawn, they're all like some of my favorite ones. And as you can tell, as I got into it more, they became a little bit more elaborate with time. Like the first ones are just basically nothing. But then I started getting a little bit more adventurous with some telephone picture, trying to make like an unmasked kind of thing, right? And like this to me is something that I kind of hold true to me, because I'm still a guy who I don't like despise MP3s and that whole thing, but I'm a guy who still likes to feel physical things like vinyl records or CDs and stuff like that, right? And I like having physical copies of stuff. So I went ahead and I got everything. I think I'm almost up to date. And just for the record too, I'm going to doing this now with the podcast stuff. I'm starting to do the same thing with that to collect all the FAQ ones I'm going to be doing as well. I have those starting to download all. And I'm going to be making my own copies of those for the FAQ. I also have done some History Science Theater ones too, because those are just ones that I was listening to, like I said, again, to keep my mind off of being there and listening to people yelling and screaming for nurses all the time in there, because I was in a rehab spot, right? And all you could hear is, help me, all the time. So, headphones were my best friend there. So, so that's one of the things that I really enjoy collecting. And that's kind of a more personal thing for me to collect. I don't know how many people actually do something similar like that, but it's pretty special for me.
So I think we need to beg all podcasts to do their episodes in either increments of 79 minutes and 59 seconds only so that these can all fit on a single CD for Mark, or if they go into multiple CDs, that they fit nicely. So for those of you podcasters who do longer episodes, try to round it down to CD size. No, that's really cool, and that's a great story as well that goes with it. That you had such a mountain to climb, and you figured a way to entertain yourself as well as listen to the show. So that's really cool. Awesome. Ken, back to you.
Back to me. All right. I was looking through some of my things, and I have this. I ordered this back when it was from a magazine. I want to say it could have been 16 magazine or whatever back then, or Circus or whatever. It was they made those Australian, whatever, the coin.
Oh God, I've got that one.
The gold coin.
Oh, yeah. I actually had to buy that a couple of years ago. They wouldn't put one of my books on the European Amazon because of copyright infringement, because I had a collage on the front. So it was the other side of the coin. So I bought one of those coins and took a photo and slapped it on.
So that's one of them. Then there's this other deal here that I think I bought it at Kiss. I want to say it was Crazy Nights tour.
Nice.
Anyway, they were putting out a.
I'm just going to torture some Kiss fans right now.
Oh, there it is.
I'm touching it with my fingers. So if you're coin collectors and Kiss fans, and I got a Mardi Gras one.
That's 83, right?
I think so. I better check my facts.
This is Kiss was selling these, believe it or not. This is just your standard
penny stamp thing.
Penny, that they. So they figured out a way to make money off of cents, right?
Oh, I like that.
I probably paid. I don't know how much I paid. Probably like knowing them, I probably paid a few bucks for it. Probably I'm gonna guess $3 or something like that. But yeah, that's something I always used to wear on my. I had it on my keychain, with my keys and so on. I had that on there for a long time. I believe I did that at the. I want to say it was I bought it at the Crazy. I'm pretty sure it was Crazy Nights, or I bought that, and I guess I'll just put up a couple more small things. I think I got this. This is a Creatures pin button. I'm gonna guess I bought that at the show. When I was there to see the Creatures tour, and then one more thing. There's a keychain for the for Animalize.
I had one of those.
Yeah. So, as far as that stuff, I mean, I have a whole bag of buttons.
Oh my God.
Of that. I mean, most of them are probably not official. They were, made by whoever. And I would see a pretty cool looking one, guitar shaped or something, and it said Kiss on it, or had one of their faces on it, and I'd pick it up. So.
No, that was really fun. I mean, around the time, I remember I collected pins. I didn't really collect them, but if they looked cool, onto my jean jacket it went. I had one of those big back patches, and if I saw any Kiss patches that were really cool. Remember there was this awesome blue background Asylum one, which I had on my shoulder. On the other side, I had a Public Image Limited one. People always looked at me rather weirdly when they saw that. So knickknacks are fun, bric-a-brac Kiss style.
Knickknacks.
Yep.
Yes.
Alex, let's move on to you.
Well, good. It's nothing really too crazy. I got to give a shout out to I think his last name is pronounced Blozer, Mike Blozer. He's done some of the great video of the Kids Cruz and so forth. And he was kind enough. And he sent me Paul, Jane, and Tommy's guitar picks from the Kids Cruz, which is really cool. But I'm pretty stoked because he sent me one of the little cups that they have for the Kids Cruz. I know it's nothing crazy or whatnot, but it's not like you could go into your dollar store or to your Walmart and buy one. You had to be on the cruise to get one, so it's just pretty cool. I've drank from it. He's as a change cup right now, and it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's neat. That's not something that I haven't seen any of those out and about. I would think that most people on the cruise are holding on to a lot of what they get. I know some people have sold that 12-inch single, and I've seen some other bits and pieces, but cups and cup sets.
Yeah,
those things are seem to
Yeah,
be
and
very close to people's hearts.
yeah, and I believe, I know they did one for each one. So, yeah, it's the Catman one. It says Cabo Wabo Tequila with 6 man and Norwegian Cruise, and then it has the emblem on it.
Which cruise was that? The most recent one?
This is the most recent one, yes, sir.
Excellent. And I want to go back to Mark quickly, and that was your Mexican Take Me, $75. Seriously, I'm jealous.
Yep.
I'm totally jealous. Yeah, I'm just thinking of your comment about the wives as well. It reminds me of an episode of Pickers where they like talking to, I can't even know what these guys' names are, but one of the lead guys says, you got to show the woman the green, or go to the woman, because the moment you do, and that's exactly what you said. So that's a great story.
Yeah.
Got to get that misprint. All right, I'm going to go into my collection again. Something else that recently came in is a cassette. Japan promo cassette for Strutter from 1995, and I collect cassettes because I'm an idiot. I love
cassettes.
And this is, Japanese cassettes I don't collect because they're just so impossible to find, and when they do come up for sale, they are horrendously expensive unless you get really, really lucky, and I have never gotten lucky when it comes to Japanese cassettes. So I wanted that one because it's got the sound check recording of Strutter that was put out on radio in 1995 to help victims of the Kobe earthquakes. They recorded it, I believe, Budokan at the first show, so January the 31st, 1995, along with, and I got to check my notes here because I can never remember, Rock Bottom as well. And they did a bit of an intro for it so that people in Japan could dial up, listen to a message for fundraising for disaster relief, and then get to hear the Kiss song. And I don't think anyone ever got to hear Rock Bottom, so maybe that was just not deemed to be good enough. But it gets back into what we've said on a lot of episodes about the power and glory of the 1995 incarnation of Kiss. Eric Singer had been in the band a couple of years. Bruce Kulick was on absolute fire. Gene and Paul were very comfortable and relaxed and seemed to be enjoying what they were doing. So to get that live copy, and the song circulates out there. You can go onto YouTube right now and go and listen to it in crystal clear quality. I just wanted to have the promo tape because it's just a kind of neat little thing from that period of the band that I kind of miss with what happened after 1995. So cool from a personal perspective, and since I haven't made it to Japan yet, it'll have to do. Alex, I'm going to go straight back to you for the next item.
Sounds cool. The next one, I bought a couple stuff, but I wanted to get always wanted to have something signed by the original lineup. This is just a picture I steer from actually where I got the website. I do have one. I had it posted before on my Facebook. I have to take a picture of it when I go back down about an hour away. But I guess when the first Psycho Circus comic book was coming out, they had signed some certificates along with Todd McFarlane, and it was hand signed by Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter in the signature colors. And so, that's kind of like a picture of what it is, the certificate there. And so I have one of those, and I put it in a frame with a picture of the original lineup from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, and then and with the little Kiss logo on the bottom, so it looks kind of nice and stuff. But I just figured there was no way in heck I was going to be able to go out to any of those, if they do a convention thing, to sign something or anything like that. And so I wanted to have something signed by the 4 original members and stuff, and it was a pretty good price, so I couldn't pass up an opportunity.
So you bought that? Where did you get it from? Was it from the McFarlane Direct, or
no, Kiss Army Warehouse?
Oh, excellent. Okay. I think
little plug in there for you guys.
Yeah, I think I heard of them before.
Yeah, it did a great job.
Great dealer.
Keith LaRue, because I guess he works with that and stuff, took good care of me with that. So, I was pretty happy. I was excited to get it.
Good. I'm glad you're happy because I wouldn't have to edit out that you were not unhappy with a purchase from any of our Kiss brothers. So.
No, they did a great job packaging and everything with it, and I was super stoked when I got it. And I know that some people do the whole if I didn't get the autograph, it's not cool kind of a thing, and that's cool for them. Go ahead and do that. Someone like me, kind of being a little bit younger and stuff. I mean, let's see, when the original Kiss lineup broke up, I was 12. For the second time in 2001, I was 12. So, there was no opportunity there. And then Peter was gone a year later anyway, so I was like 14 and Ace had been out. So there was just no way, I was going to, have an opportunity. I mean, I know some guys have it, but I'm going to college. I don't make that much money and stuff, And now I got a girlfriend, so I got to,
You've got even less money.
even less money,
Right.
which I don't mind and stuff. Yeah.
No, and
So,
I think what's important is no fan can tell another fan what is or is not valid collecting, what is or not valid fandom, whatever. It's a very individual thing. I mean, there are some people who collect 8-tracks. I mean, there's quite a bunch of us who are into the cassettes. There are people who are into the minutia of 501 pressings versus UPC versus 82, 83, 85 pressings, and into all of that, and just into specific areas. I mean, I got bored of collecting. I was into the singles. That was all I collected at one point. And when you get up to 500 singles, and the ones that you need in your collection are like $800 if you can even prize them out of someone's cold dead hands, it just got a bit pointless. So that's why now I just buy stuff if I happen to like it, and I'm not too embarrassed to have it out, because I don't believe in putting any of my stuff in boxes. But it doesn't matter if you don't get the autographs yourselves. If they mean something to you, then that's all that matters.
yeah, and like I said, I mean, the price was good. I mean, when I got it, I paid $150 for it, which I thought was an excellent price, seeing as, I was checking out some other stuff, because I've seen people that have on eBay, like, a copy of Kiss signed by, 6 of them, with, the Revenge lineup plus Peter and Aces, and they want like $400, $500, $600 for it, and it's like $150 for a little piece of paper, but it's signed by the 4 guys. I'll take that.
Yeah, and if you're getting it from a legitimate source, I mean,
Yeah,
if you go on
legitimate.
the FAQ or onto some of the collector sites on Facebook, it's hilarious at some of the bad forgeries that are out there.
Yeah,
And that's something that puts me off a lot of the stuff. I mean, when I bought that Kiss Cruz 512-inch single, you knew that was legitimately signed. I've had Gene sign stuff. I've had Paul sign stuff. Ace and Peter have all signed stuff for me, and Bruce, and I think Eric as well. So I've had everyone sign for me personally. I don't need them to ever do that again now, because I've had that interaction. So, to each their own.
Yeah. And it's really cool, actually. I would say, like, it's a hand-signed document, too. I mean, you can see where the Sharpie's bleeding through the paper and stuff. It wasn't, a signature pin or anything like that. It's a hand-signed item.
Yeah, so as long as it's got provenance that you're happy with.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even if it's, there are people out there whose probably pride and joy is a fake autograph. But you know what? If it makes them happy, sometimes you just have to grit the teeth and not tell them that's the worst Paul Stanley I've ever seen,
For real.
My 3-year-old could do better with a crayon. So, all right, Mark, let's go back to you.
Well, it's actually pretty interesting how you were talking about all these little things that everybody collects, and people collecting cassette tapes and 8-tracks and stuff like that. Well, I'm one of these people who collects something that probably people are going to roll their eyes about, but I love it still, and I still look around still for videotape concert bootlegs. Okay, I still look for them, and I'll tell you why. And you might find this, might find it hard to believe, but I'll explain here a bit. I have a good 4-head hi-fi VCR still, okay? I have. And back then, just like the comparison between, the whole vinyl versus CD, and the whole recording on digital medium versus reel-to-reel analog tape, I've always been a convinced buyer that I have an Alive 1 show, the same one that probably everyone else has on their Kissology, the Cobo Hall one, blah, 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 show 1. I think it's one of these ones here I have. And, yeah, I think it's one of these ones. Anyways, what I'm trying to get my point across at is that this show sounds 100,000 times better audio-wise on this videotape than it does sound on Kissology. And I mean, everybody who kind of knows me now and has kind of gotten to know me a bit online knows that I'm a big audio buff. I've spent my life in a recording studio since I was 16 years old. Okay, so I've been in studios a long time. I know the difference between this and that, and a lot about gear and things like that. And Julian knows whenever I'm talking about books, the first question I ask him is there going to be any text about, recording studio questions or stuff like that, right? Because that's my big thing I love, right? So I'm telling you, some of these shows that I have, the audio on it, especially if you have a decent VCR, is just fantastic. How the difference in the sound. Like, I mean, I have this Dynasty. I don't know if you can see that, the Largo show. It's in pencil, but I don't know if you can make that out. But I have that show. It's the full show, and I know on Kissology they have it trimmed up and stuff. They don't have the full show on there. But when you listen to it off this tape, it starts out kind of wonky because just like with most soundboard kind of recordings, the guy's kind of, fiddling with the sound at the beginning of the show. And then by song 3, he has it kind of balanced in and it's kind of set. And from there on in, it has this really great sound. I mean, sure, sometimes it sounds a little grindy because their guitar tones are a little odd. He's moving the mic up and down in the song, like at the beginning of Calling Dr. Love. He didn't have Ace's guitar up loud enough in the beginning, so you hear him kind of push it up in the mix at one point, right? And I mean, those kind of things I love. Like, those are the kind of little things that I love about collecting old videotapes like this, because the sound of it is just so much more denser is the word I'm looking for. It's like when he plays the bass and he hits the kick drum, the tone of it through the speaker sounds so much better through a tape than it does through an analog source. That's my own opinion. I mean, you may not agree with that, but that's what I enjoy. I mean, just another quick thing with that, I had an original videotape copy of Exit Stage Left, Rush, okay? And then they went back, remastered it, and they put it out in one of these box sets where they redid all the videos on DVD. And Richard Chicky, the mixer guy that they have now working for them, remixed the audio in 5.1, and they left the stereo 2.0 as the original mix. Now, that 2.0 mix is the same one apparently as the one in the video. It's close, but it's never the same as it was on the videotape. But I'm telling you, that sound off of that videotape, when I turned it up on my stereo and Geddy Lee came in with his bass, it's like, wow. Like, it was just like thunder coming through the speakers. I mean, that's why I love collecting videotape shows, because especially if there's soundboard stuff, once you get your stereo turned up nice and you fiddle with your graphic EQ a little bit, it could sound so awesome in your living room or in your den or your Kiss cave there. Just turn it up and I love it. I mean, that's why I love collecting these sort of things.
Oh, I totally am going to jump in and agree with you, because I do the same thing with audio bootlegs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is actually the master, I believe, the only known unlossy or of Vinnie Vincent's Warrior stuff. So,
Oh, nice.
and what I've done over the years is I keep buying, when they do turn up, older cassettes. If you look at the sort of media that's being used to try and get away from the generational copy issues of degradation from everything being copied over and over and over, it does break down and lose quality. And what I found with a lot of the stuff that was transferred to DVD, those shows, is that everyone's messed around with everything a little bit, whether it's the video, whether it's the audio. I've certainly been guilty of that with a lot of the audio that's come through my hands, that I've over-processed it rather than done it in a more organic way, or just leave it the heck alone for people to, it's you want to kind of fix something sometimes, especially, if you're coming from an acetate where you've got the snap, crackle, and pop, you want to clean up what you can, but you can take away from it, and that's what's happened to a lot of the video. And the stuff on Kissology is a great example of what is not good. That it's been over-processed, it's been overworked. They've done it with the right intention, and it was also the same on the Love Gun Deluxe with that live stuff where they try to computer enhance the kick drum or whatever it was, ended up making it sound like garbage. So, I go back to the shows, and sometimes you score. You find a tape from like 1980-something that was very low gen that sounds absolutely fantastic. I think Detroit 83 was one I found a couple years ago that was very low generation. Ace Frehley's SIR soundboard, which was absolutely crystal, unbelievable. Was another one, unfortunately incomplete. But, the same in the videos, and I've still got a lot of my original VHS cassettes, and I'd send them to you, but you live in Canada, and postage is just too darn expensive.
Yeah, I know.
And in my audio rack right beside me, I do have a VHS deck to watch stuff, so simple as that. Alex, let's ping pong back to you.
All right.
And Ken, I think I probably skipped you, but we'll get to you next.
That's all right.
We'll give Ken 2 in a row, I guess. So, it's another signed thing. I got a signed copy of Paul Stanley's Face the Music, which I was pretty.
Cool.
I thought, that was like one of my first time I actually bought anything from KissZombieWarehouse.com. But because I wanted to get like a signed copy, but he wasn't doing any signings and stuff, and so I got in contact with Keith LaRue, and he said just head on over there, and they had it for a great deal. It was like $30 when I got it. Now they got them for like I think like 50 or 60. But it came at the pass, and they Paul signed a handful of the books, extra copies, at that expo that he did in Indianapolis and stuff, and so I was pretty stoked. I wanted to get a signed one. Because I bought a copy of his autobiography when it came out. And I must have had it done like within a week, and it was excellent, and I really loved it. And so I thought, what a better way to have a signed copy, to sit on the shelf. I'm a little bit of a book guy. I mean, you really can't see it, but if you look behind me, there's a whole set of books right there. So I'm a book. I like books. Books are great. Books. I'm a history ed major, so I better like reading. So yeah. So it's pretty cool to get that, and I love going through it and just reading some of the stories, from Paul's life and stuff. Again, with the autobiographies, with anything, especially doing history and stuff, you kind of have to take some of the stories and realize it's coming from their perspective, and it might be a little bit different than maybe what the truth is, and so sometimes you got to take, obviously with between the four guys, you can take the biographies because a lot of them have some stories where they both tell the same incident. And to go through and then, kind of leaves you, the reader, to leave your judgment and give your view of what it is. But I really loved Paul's book and thought it was he's pretty personal with it. And so I'm quite a fan of it.
Yeah, it was pretty deep. I had a signed copy. I got it at the JCC when he did the Q&A session there, which was
in San Francisco.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. I didn't know I was getting a copy of the book as well because I'd already bought it, so I threw it up on eBay with the ticket. But that's the story of my life. But a good book. I think if you take all of their books and kind of shake them together, you probably get an essence of the truth. We don't know it, and that's why you ask 5 different people at a crime scene what happened. 5 different stories. So the truth is somewhere in between. Ken.
Well, I have something perfect for Alex to carry his books in.
Oh, sweet.
So, especially you remember school books too. Walking to class or whatever.
A Hello Kitty satchel.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
it's not Hello Kitty.
Hey.
This is there you go.
Well, I'm close.
There you go.
Kiss backpack back in, I don't know when they made it, probably 70s.
77, 78?
78, something like that, yeah. This is a love gun shot.
I just got to tell you, I'm just picturing you, Ken, but like,
I never know.
one
It's a little small.
Look at those straps. Those are like
These are the
for
straps.
kindergarten.
I'm
I'm picturing you like 1/3 your size, dressed like the guy from AC/DC with the schoolboy outfit with that little backpack on, going to class.
Yeah, it's like canvas. But you'd wear a hole in it pretty darn quick if you really used it. But yeah, I just kind of saw it way back. It was probably in 70, around that time, 78, 79, when I bought it. I mean, I didn't buy it from anybody. I bought it from the store, straight out of the store. I said, "Oh, that's kind of interesting. I'll just buy it."
That's cool. I've never seen that.
Oh no, yeah. They you see them sometimes, I think, on eBay. But yeah, it's.
Oh, then that's why I've never seen one. I've never searched Kiss.
You can put
backpack.
you can put your name here. So in case it gets lost, you put your name on there and address.
and decrease the value.
Decrease the value, yeah. That's right. So
No, don't write on it, please.
that's one of them. I'll do another quick one here. Since Julian was talking about this kind of stuff, I only have 3 of these things. You're talking about the jean jacket stuff, and so here's a back patch.
Nice.
Nice.
One of the back patch that's like a destroyer type one. And then this one here is an interesting one.
Oh, I like that.
There, let me go back a little bit.
That brings me back to my high school days.
Yeah, yeah. And then, believe it or not, we got without makeup.
Wow, look at that.
Oh,
Look it up.
that looks good
But
Now,
though.
now is that really Vinny or is that the mannequin?
I think it's the mannequin. I'm pretty sure it's a mannequin, but yeah, I have these. I think I had another one, but I don't know where it is. But yeah, that's something I had probably saw when they came out way back, and I just picked it up. I don't go out. I don't go out looking for some of these things, but if I see something, I said that looks interesting or it's kind of cool, then I'll go ahead and buy it if it's not too expensive. I'm sure I got those for pretty darn cheap since it was in the store.
No, that's excellent. I mean, I can't even remember what the patch I had on the back. I know it was Kiss. I can't remember what the design was. I think it might have been Animalize, but it was like you'd go to like flea markets, and there would just be tables with stacks and stacks of those things, and you'd be flipping through trying to find the band you wanted. Those and the decorative mirrors or glass panes.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like carnival fair
Oh yeah.
stuff.
The mirrors.
That was just so 80s for me, I guess, and maybe 70s as well for a lot of other folks. So, very cool stuff. Who's next? Oh yeah, me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to Japan and it's singles. I don't have that many singles left now after I unloaded most of those.
That's from the Elder.
Yeah, oddly, since it happens to be on my desk, it is from the Elder. But this one, I posted a story about this single on the Odyssey Book Facebook page, and back when I first became a fan, I couldn't find the Elder. And eventually I found an ad in the back of some magazine, might have been Circus or Hit Parader, for an import copy of that single. And it became my first mail order purchase. I remember having to go to the bank and, I was 14 years old, asking for a money order to order it. And became my first collectible, really, that I owned from the band. So this isn't the copy that I bought back in 86, it must have been, or 87. It's because that one had sellotape all around the edges where I'd stuck the thing up on the wall, because it's not a picture sleeve like all Japanese singles. It's just got the overlay sheet. Mm-hmm. But because it's got that connection with me and the Elder and the beginning of my fandom, it's the one Japanese single that I've got to have, and one that now will remain in the collection. Obviously, apart from the fact I needed a copy to scan the cover and take a picture of the vinyl for use in the next few months. So, interesting part of my early collecting, and like I said earlier, I got up to around 500 singles. It became an addiction with traveling over Southeast Asia, Europe, and the U.S. to build up. And that's nothing compared to what some of the guys have out there. Puts me to shame. When I sold it and I got 13 grand for all those singles, I was very happy, and it paid for my wedding, and I didn't go into any debt. So
awesome.
Nice.
I miss them, but. But like I said, only the expensive ones were left, and now I wouldn't want to be in the game because there's just too many counterfeits out there for those Portuguese singles, which are beautiful. But there we go. All right, who is next? Mark, you look like you're itching to talk.
Yeah, well, if you want me to, I'm up
next.
Yeah.
So go for it.
Okay, so before I actually started getting into vinyl again, and when I got back into becoming a hardcore Kiss fan, the one thing that I started collecting beforehand was I actually started collecting household stuff, which is kind of not exactly something that most people collect. Like, I went out and I was big into this store. I'm sure you guys have them in America all the time. I used to go with my ex-girlfriend over to the border to Buffalo all the time, to FYI, I think it's called, that store.
FYE.
FYE, that's it. Sorry.
Yep.
You're right. And I bought those clocks, those Kiss clocks, the wall-mounted clocks one. I had one of those, and I actually have two of them. I bought another version of the clock. But the one thing that I bought from that store, and I'll never forget when I saw it, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. It is probably a bit kitschy now in retrospect, but it still has a very special place in my heart because I've read some of my favorite books with this, and I've also did a lot of late night writing for my band. Get it out here.
Okay.
My official Kiss lamp.
Oh my
Gene
God.
Simmons Axe
Yeah.
base lamp.
Oh, that
Now,
makes me think of the Christmas story, the leg lamp. Oh my God, that is.
and it has them from the reunion tour. They're on the shade if you take a look at it there. Right? So they're on there. And what's great too is that it has these kind of really weird kind of plasticky strings on the bass too, right? So it is an actual stringed sort of instrument, right? So when I saw this thing the first time, I was like, that is so tacky, but I love it, you know? And I had to get it. I brought it, I put it on my night table, and I read all the Kiss books with this on. I read your Julian's book with this thing on at night. I've read everything, any kind of music book I've read, even my Pro Tools 11, tips and guide book. This was always on, and it was my light source. So, Gene, thank you for the very awesome bass guitar lamp that you thought of, I'm sure, because this just reeks Gene. I mean, look at it. Come on. I mean,
Is that official?
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
official.
it was
It
an
is.
official. Yeah, it's an official one from
Wow.
their.
Have you seen the other one, Mark? I have the other one, the other lamp. Have you
Which
seen
one
the
is
other
that?
lamp? There's another Kiss lamp that came out too, and it was in Spencer's, I think, and that had this kind of I don't know what you want to call it. It's a square kind of base to it, and it has kind of not their faces, but it's kind of the shape of the logo of the face, the makeup more or less,
Oh, okay, okay.
embedded into the each side of the base, and then it has a different squared off.
Oh, I see. I'm looking at it on eBay right
It's
now.
it has like it's using somewhat partially the destroyer, not destroyer, but dynasty faces on the
Okay.
roundup thing,
I I
but yeah,
haven't
so
I haven't seen it, but let's put it this way. I'm still of that thinking where if I were to see it now, I think I would probably grab it because this thing has faithfully served me. I mean, I've had lights go kaput on me, left, right, and center. This thing, as tacky as it is, for whoever made it, it's pretty solidly made. I mean, this thing is, my cat's knocked it over, all kinds of stuff, and it's still running, no problem. No crack in the neck there, nothing. So
yeah.
and I'm, like I said, I mean, that's more of a, I don't know many people who like to collect household items, but I really like that. That's one of my favorite objects. So
That is absolutely hilarious. That's very cool, and a great story to go with it. Ken,
Thanks.
let's go back to you.
Okay, I'll go quick. So I guess that'll be my last one. This one, believe it or not, this came in the mail today. So I've been watching, going to that Kiss My Wax site and stuff. So I've been going back into starting to, buy different kinds of vinyl that I think it's kind of interesting, Kiss vinyl or different versions, kind of like Mark. We're going, the 85 or a red vinyl or
Yeah.
whatever, promotional copies. So this one's kind of a promo one. This is one that's from Mexico,
nice.
unmasked, a gift to radio listeners. And I don't know, it has the song titles on the back. I think it's something. But they're in Spanish, of course. And even the vinyl it's just your basic. It's actually the one that's on. There we go. Let's put it up here maybe. If I can get this one up here. So yeah, and it has the songs in again in Spanish, is unmasked copy. So yeah, it's kind of something different. I thought was kind of cool and never seen before. And I thought, well, I think I'll try to get that one. So, yeah, I've been getting, like I said, I've been focusing on the vinyl now is the kind of the thing I've been doing now is different Kiss vinyls. And because, again, at one time I had dumped all my vinyl years ago.
Yeah.
for whatever reasons I'm not going to go into, but it was all gone, and so that's one of the reasons the Hysteria thing was value to me, and then going back and re-getting like a love gun that has all the inserts in it, has the inserts and the gun and everything. That's not even put together. It's still in its perfect, pristine form. So, but yeah. So it came today in the mail. Believe it or not.
Nice.
Excellent. And I've got a piece of vinyl as well, and it's not because of Kiss My Wax is getting me back into collecting. I'm kind of trying to re-get a lot of the things that I got rid of, because over the years, this is not going to be that exciting to anyone. It's Peter Criss, Let Me Rock You.
Nice.
My favorite album. How did you know?
The only reason I find this interesting and I wanted it back in the collection desperately, this is a Singapore pressing. And obviously we're living out there for many years. Well, it wasn't many years, sorry. 2 years. Felt like many. I had picked up quite a few of the domestically pressed albums out there. Music from the Elder, which I'm still... $150 is the offer. Anyone can get me a copy of that, because it's got the scroll on the back where they dealt with the song order, and I want that back in my collection. And I only ever found one copy, and it was actually in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, in a flea market.
I thought I saw that recently somewhere.
Yeah, I want it back. But, I had both of Peter's solo albums were pressed in Singapore. Rock and Roll Over. I had Music from the Elder, Creatures of the Night, and I think I had I didn't buy En Masse because I hated it. But that's the one I passed. So I wanted to get all those back into my collection, especially the Rock and Roll Over, because that's the only time I ever saw it out there, and I don't think I've seen too many people even own that one in the years since. So someone in Herefordshire has my copy by now, because I sold it to a record store there. So, Peter Criss, I was into those albums, and obviously I think I've mentioned it on one of the other episodes that I found both of his albums first on cassette out there. So Out of Control and Let Me Rock You. My first experience of solo material other than Frelly's Comet was, finally getting a chance to hear those albums. And when I saw that cover, I was like, whoa, I didn't even know at that point as a fan that he'd done a second album or a third album. So, that's how new I was to the Kiss world. So it kind of brings back those warm and fuzzy memories of when I was completely naive and ignorant, though some would say I'm still ignorant. And just to have like those little collecting things. And I think you've noticed it with most of what I've shown today, that all these things have a story attached. Mark's had a few stories attached to his items, and I think that's probably, for and Alex, I think the same for you and Ken as well. A lot of the items that we show and, we're not necessarily proud of, but they mean something to us, and that's the best way to collect, rather than this is an investment. Those people who are loading up on the die-cast cars, I'm investing for the future. This is going to put my kid through college. I totally think that's the wrong attitude. Some stuff may go up in value. I think a lot of it, when Kiss is over and the market is dumped, because everyone's getting rid of their stuff, it's going to tank big time. So... get stuff that you can enjoy, I think, is the key message that I want to give to everyone out there. Don't let anyone tell you what is or is not a collectible, even if it is the Johnny diecast fucking car thingies, whatever they
Johnny Lightning.
Johnny Lightning, thank you.
Yeah.
If I get through...
I think I had a couple of those.
Yeah, if I can get through saying it without an expletive, pardon me, only you decide what's collecting. So, anyone have any last items to show, or are we on a wrap here?
I think I got my fifth one. It's something crazy. I get the picture because I don't have it with me, but it's Paul Stanley's guitar pick from the Live to Win tour. It was my first Kiss-related show to go to, so I was super stoked. That's nothing anybody wanted. I was up front. And, throughout the show, he was obviously tossing picks. And so right after he did Love Gun, though, he came over to where I was and he handed me his guitar pick that he had used. So
nice.
It was pretty on cloud nine at that moment.
Actually, I do have one last thing, too, if you want to just really quickly.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
we haven't reached CD length. You're okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so I showed this, I believe, on the Christmas episode, but a funny thing happened. A little quick story about this. When we did the Christmas episode and I showed this on there, I got an email a couple of days later from one of my friends who was in my band, and he goes, I saw the episode, and I go, you didn't mention why you got that gift. And I go, I don't remember offhand why I got it even at that point. And he refreshed my memory about it. Let me show you what it is first. I think Julian might remember. It was this.
Oh God, yeah.
It was that incense holder. Okay, it's like it has other faces on it, right? All the guys on there, and out of Gene's mouth, there comes out the smoke, right? Now, my friend reminded me why I got this. We had a band house. Me and my other bandmates, we bought a house together, and we all lived in it, and we rehearsed and we recorded. We made a room that we recorded and stuff, but we were young and we were, having a good time being rock and rollers. So the house completely smelled of pot. Okay. Like it was, we smoked a lot of pot back then. Okay. Now, the reason why we got this, or why I got this, was because every once in a while this would happen. We'd be in the house, we'd be talking, all of a sudden you hear a knock at the door and open it, and it's one of our parents. And we're like, oh my God, we quickly go out and get the spray, to kind of kill the smell in there and stuff. So one of my friends thought the best thing to do was, let's get Mark for Christmas one of these incense things. We'll put it in the living room, can light it and leave it running all the time, and this way it'll kill off our little fragrance of fun there that we would have in the house. So that's really essentially why I was given this fine incense burner at that time. It was strictly to keep things on the level with the parents when they came over the unexpected visit. So that's another thing that has a very soft spot in my heart for many reasons, because it reminds me of the time when we all lived together in that band house and all the fun times I was around it and stuff like that. So it's a memory piece as well as a collecting piece for me.
Did that actually work on the parents?
In years later, my mom kind of said that she kind of got she kind of clued in after a while. At first, she always thought it was, she never knew what it was. But you got to understand, my mom's like old school Europe, like East German, war baby kind of thing. Like when they only knew it as hemp, and they used it to make ropes. They didn't know anything about smoking it, right? So. That's so when they smelled it, they had no clue what it was until finally, my sister said, Mom, you know what that is, right? And then they got clued in, right?
So real quick, you're talking about that kind of thing. It just reminded me of this other thing I had that I had picked up. I can use this as a weapon. I mean, this thing's so heavy. Yeah. But it's the snow globe. The Kiss
nice.
Snow globe. Yeah. Has the boots on the corners and then each guy on the,
That's sweet.
But the thing is heavy. I mean, you could knock someone out with this thing. Truly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's something I picked up a long time ago.
This week on Home Gardening TV with Ken and Mark, we're going to talk about
That's right.
You guys have heard of the Kiss Room on iTunes. Well, come check out the real Kiss Rooms with Ken and Mark.
Talking about things, this could be a guerrilla episode of stuff that just happened to arrive today, and this won't be of interest to anyone. 9 Years of Rock, the story of the concerts at the Erie County Fieldhouse. So I'm obviously working on some touring history, and
nice.
that's got some nice stories about the 1975 shows, and I just wanted to get some clarity. That just arrived when I got home right before we started taping, so
cool.
That's going to be my evening reading as I continue going through a manuscript. So, all right, guys, I think that is a wrap. That is enough show and tell for one episode. This is the sort of episode that we can go back to this well in the future, because Alex, you were going to say?
And it will fit on the one CD for Mark.
Oh, nice.
We always try and go to about an hour, and that's usually good. So, thank you for listening, everyone, and thank you guys for digging out some of your collectibles and telling us the stories that go with them. Everyone who's out there listening, whether you're on Spreaker, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Why don't you tell us about some of the 5 top items in your collection, whether they're, the most important parts of your collection, or, just 5 recent acquisitions, and, what things mean to you. How do you collect? What makes you a collector? So, everyone's got a unique story, and we'd love to hear yours as well. So thank you, everyone, for listening. And Ken and Mark and Alex, thank you all for participating, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we broadcast today. We hope to see you again.